For the last couple of years, using AI in a professional setting has felt a bit like standing on a massive, really complex construction site with nothing but a walkie-talkie.
Oh, yeah. That's a really great way to put it.
Right, because you press the button, you ask a question to some, brilliant engineer sitting miles away at headquarters, and they radio back an answer.
And it's helpful. Sure.
Yeah, it's helpful, but at the end of the day, you are still the one who has to uh, put down the radio, pick up the shovel, and actually do the physical work to implement that advice yourself.
Exactly. And that perfectly captures the friction of the standard chat interface we've all gotten so used to. I mean, it's fundamentally an advisory relationship.
Yeah.
You have this highly intelligent consultant in a browser window, but that consultant's entirely separated from the actual environment where your daily tasks are executed. They can tell you how to dig the trench, but they can't actually touch the dirt.
Which is exactly why today we are throwing away the walkie-talkie. Welcome to the deep dive. Today we are pulling back the curtain on how to really master Claude, specifically for construction automation.
It's a huge shift.
It is. The mission today is to explore what happens when you stop asking the AI for advice from afar and start deploying it directly onto the job site. We are looking at 3 distinct categories of leverage, 3 specialized tools called Claude Code, Claude for Excel, and Claude Cowork.
And, setting the context for why this matters is just crucial for anyone listening right now. We are experiencing a major, major paradigm shift from conversational AI to operational AI.
Okay, operational AI.
Yeah. It is no longer just about generating text or answering questions in a vacuum. It is about deploying this intelligence directly into the native environments where your work actually lives.
Where the messy stuff happens.
Exactly. Whether that is the command line of your operating system, the individual cells of your spreadsheet, or, the completely unorganized local folders sitting on your desktop right now.
Right, let's unpack this. And I want to start with the tool that honestly sounds the most intimidating, but offers the absolute highest ceiling of power. We're moving from the concept of a simple chatbot to what is essentially a virtual developer. Let's talk about Claude Code.
Right. So Claude Code is a command line tool. And what that means in practice is it allows Claude to write and, crucially, execute code directly on your computer.
Wait, execute it?
Yes. We are talking about Python scripts, data processing pipelines, and complex file manipulation happening locally on your machine.
Now, I have to push back here on behalf of every listener who just heard the phrase command line tool and immediately tensed up.
It sounds technical.
It sounds terrifying. Wait, a command line tool? For a construction professional? I mean, that sounds like asking a project manager or a site superintendent to go learn Python or a whole new programming language just to do their day job.
Oh, I totally get that reaction. It sounds incredibly daunting. But what's fascinating here is that the exact opposite is true. Yeah. This tool unlocks developer-level automation with absolutely zero coding knowledge required from you. None.
Okay, so it's like operating heavy machinery, right? You don't need to know how the internal combustion engine of an excavator works or, how to calibrate the hydraulic fluid pressure.
That's exactly it.
You just sit in the cab, use the controls, or in this case, plain English, to tell the machine exactly where to dig, how deep to go, and where to put the dirt. The AI writes the code, runs it, and just hands you the result.
That is the exact dynamic.
Bro?
You provide the intent, and Claude provides the execution. Let's break down how this actually works under the hood with a real construction scenario.
Okay, let's hear it.
Imagine you have a folder full of hundreds of project PDFs, and you need to extract all the RFI requests for information references from them.
Ugh, doing that manually is the kind of mind-numbing task that eats up days of a project engineer's time.
Oh, totally.
You're opening each individual PDF, hitting Control F, searching for RFI, copying the context, pasting it into a master tracker. I mean, it's a nightmare.
It is a nightmare. And that's where the mechanism of Claude Code is so brilliant. When you instruct it in plain English to extract those references, it doesn't just read the files like a human would. It acts like a software developer.
Okay.
Behind the scenes, it rapidly writes a custom Python script designed specifically to open those PDFs, extract the text, and parse out the RFI numbers. But here is the most important part. It then executes that script on your machine.
Wait. So what happens if it writes a bad script? Like, what if one of those PDFs is locked or formatted weirdly and the script fails? Does my computer just crash?
No, not at all. That is the magic of the autonomous loop. If the script fails, Claude Code reads the error message in your terminal, realizes its mistake, rewrites the Python code to fix the bug or bypass the locked file, and then it runs it again.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it literally troubleshoots its own work until it succeeds, and then it outputs your pristine list. You never even look at the code.
That is wild. It's essentially talking to itself to solve your problem. Let's look at another scenario from the sources. Batch formatting a folder of daily reports.
Yes, that's a great one.
Say you have dozens of daily logs coming in from different subcontractors every single evening, and they're all in slightly different formats.
Right. The plumber has one format, the electrician has another. You can point Claude code at that incoming folder and instruct it to process all of those disparate logs into your standardized company template.
So it maps the data for you.
Exactly. It will write a script to map the data, taking the weather from the plumber's log, the head count from the electrician's log, and consolidate it automatically.
Another massive use case that stood out to me is file organization. Think about automatically renaming and organizing, like 500 drawing files by discipline and revision.
Oh, that is a classic high-friction construction management problem right there.
Yeah, it is.
When a new drawing set drops, standardizing 500 file names so they fit your strict document management system, that is historically a manual, highly error-prone weekend job.
Ruining someone's Saturday.
Exactly. But Claude Code can look at the files, understand your specific naming logic, write a script to change the metadata and file names, and execute it in seconds.
Now, getting this onto your computer does require a tiny bit of IT setup to clear the initial hurdle. The source mentions you have to use a developer tool called NPM to download it, which usually means installing something called node.js first.
Right, which sounds scary, but is just a standard web installer.
Exactly. Once you clear that 5-minute one-time setup, the daily usage is incredibly simple. You just open your command line anytime and type the word Claude.
Yeah, that simple command wakes the tool up, giving it a direct line to your local environment, completely ready for your plain English instructions.
So if you want to test this today, the lowest hanging fruit is a simple renaming task. Point it at a folder of daily reports and type rename all files in my daily reports folder to include the date prefix YYYY-MM-DD.
That is a perfect first task.
Right. It is a low-risk, high-reward way to see the magic happen right before your eyes. You literally watch the file names update in real time.
And honestly, seeing those files instantly transform on your hard drive is usually the moment the light bulb goes on.
Yeah.
You suddenly realize the sheer scale of leverage you now possess.
And here's where it gets really interesting. Claude Code is brilliant for automating these external files and external scripts. But what if your entire project life is trapped inside a spreadsheet?
Which is true for a lot of people.
Exactly. You don't want to spin up a terminal and deal with Python scripts just to clean up a messy timesheet or analyze a budget.
Right. And this brings us to the second tool in our deep dive, Claude for Excel. Think of this as an inside operator. It is an add-in that brings the AI directly into Microsoft Excel.
Okay, so it lives in the app.
Yes. And the why here is incredibly important for data integrity. Think about it. When you use a standard AI chat interface to analyze data, you have to export your sheet as a CSV, upload it to the browser, ask your questions, get a result, and then figure out how to manually get that result back into your actual working document.
Which is an absolute recipe for a version control disaster. You end up with like budget underscore final underscore v3 underscore AI underscore summary dot XLICX floating around on your desktop.
It happens all the time. But by using the Excel add-in, Claude operates directly on your actual live data. There's no exporting. There is no copy pasting into a separate window. There is zero context switching.
But I have to ask about the depth here. When you say it operates on the data, does that mean I'm just asking for a basic summary, like tell me what this column says, or can it handle the actual rigorous, complex math required to run a live construction site?
Oh, it absolutely handles the rigor. You aren't just asking for text summaries. You can command it to do serious analytical heavy lifting.
Give me an example.
Well, for instance, you can point it at a massive export of cost data and ask it to analyze the spreadsheet to pinpoint the top 5 cost codes by variance.
But wait, when you say rigor, does that mean I'm just getting a text pop-up with the final number? Or can it actually build the formulas in the sheet so I can see the math and, prove it to a client?
Builds the functional architecture of the spreadsheet.
Wow.
Yeah. You can instruct it to write a complex formula that calculates the earned value for each row based on the percentage complete and the budget. It will generate the actual formula, the complex nested syntax that most of us have to Google every single time we need it, and apply it directly to the cells.
That is incredible. I mean, I spend half my life trying to remember where the comma goes in a VLOOKUP or an index match function.
Same here.
To just tell the AI, cross-reference this column with sheet 2 and pull the unit price and have it instantly write the correct formula, that gives anyone the capabilities of a power user.
It really does level the playing field.
What about data cleaning? Because real-world construction data is notoriously messy. Timesheets are the perfect example.
Timesheets are a fantastic application for this. You can highlight raw, really messy timesheet data and tell Claude to remove duplicates, standardize the format of the cost codes so they all seamlessly match your accounting software, and even flag any entries that are missing a required description.
So it does all that tedious scrubbing for you.
Exactly.
And beyond cleaning and calculating, there's visualization. If I need to show the project owner a monthly cost actuals versus budget update, can it build that?
Yes, it can generate the charts right there in the sheet based on the data it just analyzed. It essentially acts as a junior financial analyst living inside your workbook.
Getting started with this one feels a lot more familiar to most people, too. There's no command line hurdle. You just go to the Microsoft App Store, download the add-in, and authorize it with your Claude account.
Yeah, it follows a very standard workflow for extending any Microsoft Office product. If you've ever installed a plugin, you can do this.
And if you want a great first test for this, the source suggests opening up a variation register or a change order log, depending on what you call it locally.
That's a great test case.
Just point the AI at it and ask for the top 3 variation categories by value. It immediately proves its worth by turning raw rows of data into actionable project intelligence, all while keeping you safely inside the Microsoft ecosystem.
Because that workflow eliminates the friction of moving data around, which is often the biggest barrier to actually analyzing it in the first place.
All right, so we've solved the repeatable scripts with Claude Code, and we've solved the analytical heavy lifting inside spreadsheets with Claude for Excel.
We're making progress.
We are. But we need to pivot here because there is a massive source of friction we haven't touched yet. What about the messy reality of a typical professional's actual computer? We all have those local folders that aren't neatly synced to the cloud, the random downloads, the legacy files sitting on a C drive.
Oh, the digital junk drawers, yes.
Yeah.
This is the exact gap that the third tool, Claude Cowork, is designed to fill.
Okay, what is Cowork?
Cowork is a standalone desktop application. Its primary function is to bridge the divide between the cloud-connected intelligence of AI and the offline, local reality of your desktop.
Got it.
It gives the AI the ability to read, organize, rename, move, and process files that are not sitting neatly in Google Drive or SharePoint.
I love thinking about this one with an analogy. It's like hiring a highly organized, maybe slightly obsessive filing clerk, handing them a hard hat and a flashlight, and sending them down into the dusty, chaotic, terrifying depths of the downloads folder on your local hard drive.
I love that. The visual of a clerk with a flashlight is incredibly accurate. In construction, local file systems can be massive and completely unruly.
Oh, absolutely.
We're talking about gigabytes of heavy drawing sets, legacy project archives, and subcontractor submittals that simply haven't made it to the cloud yet or are kept strictly local for speed and offline access.
Okay, I buy the filing clerk analogy, but let's look at a real nightmare scenario. Subcontractor invoices.
Let's do it.
I have a local folder containing 50 random PDFs from different plumbers, electricians, and concrete guys. None of them are named correctly. They all use different invoice layouts, and they are just sitting on my desktop. What is this clerk actually doing to help me?
Well, Cowork can process that entire folder locally. You ask it to review the invoices, and it will physically read the contents of each PDF.
Even with the different layouts?
Even with the different layouts. It can locate the total amount, figure out which subcontractor it belongs to, and even classify them by the correct cost code based on the line items it reads. And it does all of this locally without you having to manually upload 50 separate PDFs into a chat window.
That alone saves an afternoon of data entry. What about pure file organization?
You can have Cowork reorganize a completely messy local project folder structure to perfectly match your company's strict document management standard. It reads the files, understands the context of what they are, creates the necessary nested folders, and then moves them to the correct location.
And what about specialized files? Because construction isn't just PDFs and spreadsheets.
Right, and this is a major advantage of the desktop environment. Cowork can read specialized local files, like Primavera P6 XER files, which are standard for complex construction schedules.
Oh, wow. Let's pause on that because that is huge.
It's massive.
P6 is highly specific, incredibly expensive industry software. Usually, if a superintendent wants to look at the schedule logic, they have to go find a planner who actually has a P6 license on their machine. Are you saying the AI can read those proprietary files natively?
Yes. The AI can parse the underlying data of that XER file locally. You can ask Cowork questions about schedule dependencies or critical path milestones without needing to open the proprietary software yourself.
Okay, but this raises a potential point of confusion for anyone listening, and I want to make sure we clarify it. Both Claude Code, the virtual developer we talked about first, and Claude Cowork touch local files on your hard drive. Both can rename files. Both can read PDFs. If I'm staring at my screen, how do I know which one to actually use?
This raises an important question, and understanding this distinction is the absolute crux of mastering these tools.
Okay, break it down.
It comes down to the frequency and the nature of the task. Claude Code is built for repeatable automation. It is for workflows you are going to run again and again.
Repeatable. Got it.
If you get a batch of 500 unformatted drawings every single Friday from an architect, you use code to build a script that standardizes them every Friday.
Ah, okay. So code builds the factory machinery that does the work on a schedule.
Right. Cowork, on the other hand, is for ad hoc tasks. It is conversational and immediate. It's for when you are sitting at your desk, you open a messy local folder,
Yeah.
and you think, I need to find a specific warranty clause in one of these 50 local PDFs right now.
Yeah, that happens all the time.
You don't need to write a recurring script for that. You just use Cowork to ask the AI to find it in the moment.
Code is the factory assembly line, and Cowork is the personal assistant fetching a file. That makes perfect sense. And the setup for Cowork is straightforward. You download the application from anthropic.com/cowork, install it, and authorize it. But there is a key data governance detail here. You deliberately select which specific folders Claude is allowed to access. It doesn't just get free rein to crawl your entire hard drive.
Which is a vital safeguard for corporate data security and personal privacy. It only sees what you explicitly give it permission to see.
A great first task for Cowork. Point it at a folder of subcontractor compliance PDFs and ask it to read all of them to list any that are missing an insurance expiry date. You ask a conversational question, and it reads the local files to give you the answer, transforming a static local folder into an interactive database.
It's just so powerful.
So what does this all mean? We've just handed you 3 distinct superpowers. But having superpowers is useless if you don't know which one to reach for in the heat of a busy workday. Let's roleplay this. I'm a project manager staring at my screen on a Tuesday morning. My head is spinning a bit with all these options. How do I actually choose? If I have a specific problem, which icon do I click?
The best way to approach this is with a simple decision matrix. It's an if-then logic structure from the source material to help you instinctively grab the right tool.
Okay, hit me with a scenario.
Scenario 1. You have a folder of files, and you want to batch process them automatically, maybe rename them or extract data into a report, and you know you'll need to do this exact same task again next week.
If it's a repeatable chore, I want the factory assembly line. That means I use Claude Code, the virtual developer.
Spot on. Okay, scenario 2. You're looking at a massive export of cost data. You need to write some complex formulas to find variances, and you absolutely do not want to risk exporting the data and messing up the version control.
If I'm doing math and I want to stay inside my spreadsheet, I use Claude for Excel, the inside operator.
Exactly. Scenario 3. You just downloaded a massive zip file of legacy contract documents to your desktop. It is not synced to the cloud, and you need to quickly figure out which document contains the liquidated damages clause without reading them all.
It's an ad hoc, in-the-moment question about messy local files. That means I fire up Claude Cowork, the local detective.
And finally, the baseline scenario. You just need to draft an email to a client, brainstorm some value engineering ideas, or write a general project narrative.
Then I just use the standard Claude chat interface in my browser. I pick up the walkie-talkie.
That is your decision matrix. Code for repeatable automation, Excel for data rigor, Cowork for local ad hoc file investigation, standard chat for general drafting.
That perfectly demystifies it. And as we wrap up this deep dive, there is one absolute non-negotiable instruction we need to leave you with from the source material. For every single one of these tools, there is a one-command or one-click start. The rule is to test them with a real task immediately. Don't just absorb the theory and move on with your day. Go run that npm install for code, or go get the Excel add-in right now. Point it at a real spreadsheet or a real folder today.
Yeah, to cement this in your workflow, just remember the three main pillars we've covered. Pillar 1 Claude Code equals developer-level automation, giving you the power to manipulate files and data loops with zero coding knowledge. Pillar 2 Claude Cowork means the AI can finally see and work with your offline local desktop, bridging the gap between the cloud and your C drive. And Pillar 3, the barrier to entry is practically gone. Setup is instantaneous.
And for those of you following along with this broader curriculum on construction automation, here's a quick teaser. Next up is Lesson B7, which will be an entire deep dive focused exclusively on Claude Cowork, diving deep into projects, SharePoint, and Drive integrations. So we are going to go even deeper into file management and team synchronization next time.
And, if we connect this to the bigger picture, there is a profound implication here about the future of work that wasn't explicitly discussed but is definitely implied. Throughout this deep dive, we have been talking about these tools operating on your individual local drives, your personal spreadsheets, your specific daily reports.
Right, it's very focused on individual leverage, giving one person superpowers.
But zoom out and think about a massive construction firm. What happens to the efficiency of that firm when an entire team, 50 project managers, site engineers, estimators, and schedulers, all have these ad hoc, developer-level personal automations running simultaneously on their local machines?
Oh, wow.
Does it create a perfectly synchronized, highly efficient hive mind where all the friction of data processing just evaporates across the entire company? Or does everyone running their own custom Python scripts and personalized file naming automations create a completely new kind of chaos?
That is a terrifying thought, actually.
Right. Does this sudden, massive distribution of developer power require an entirely new framework of project management just to oversee what the AIs are doing on everyone's local hard drives?
That is a staggering thought. We started this conversation talking about trading in your walkie-talkie for a team of specialists you can deploy right to the job site. But if everyone on the site suddenly has their own team of invisible, instantaneous software developers working at warp speed, well, you better make sure everyone is reading from the exact same set of blueprints. It's an incredible amount of leverage, but leverage always requires direction.
The tools are undeniably here, and they're sitting on your desktop. The only question now is how we choose to wield them.
That is something to seriously mull over the next time you open a messy folder or stare down a chaotic spreadsheet. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive. Go install those tools, run your first test, and we will see you next time.